Sight fishing is one of the most rewarding ways to catch fish, whether it's big trout, snook, obviously redfish. But here's the truth. Even good anglers make some mistakes. I'm not talking about beginners. I'm talking about guys that have the gear, guys that can cast, yet still they're costing themselves opportunities. In this video, I'm going to talk about the mistakes I see on a day-to-day basis from experienced anglers and how to fix those mistakes and convert those opportunities into fish catches. Now, before we jump into these mistakes and how to fix them, you've got to understand a few things. You got to understand boat positioning, awareness, and being able to execute under pressure. Most missed opportunities do not come from not seeing the fish. They really come from what you do after you see the fish. So let's break down some of those mistakes. All right, mistake number one, I would say, from what I see, is most of us are moving too fast. Now, this happens to even experienced anglers. They're moving too quickly, trying to cover too much ground. What does that do? Well, you're blowing out fish before you even see them. You're reducing your reaction time, whether you know it or not. Now, because you're moving faster, now you see the fish. Now you don't get much time because you're pushing too fast, whether that's push poling or trolling motoring. And then you miss those subtle movements. If you're moving slow enough, you'll see that fish swimming down that wheel ditch, or you'll see that fish that's just kind of finning along the edge of a pothole, just kind of lurking there. But if you're moving too fast, you miss a lot of that. So what's the solution? Push pull more quietly. Scan more methodically with your eyes. Slow yourself down. If you can slow yourself down by 30 or 40% where you feel like you're moving almost too slow, you're probably doing it right. Mistake number two, and there's a good argument to make it mistake number one, is positioning the sun angle. The light can be your biggest friend or your biggest enemy most of the time when you're sight fishing. So for me, the glare kills visibility. That's why good optics are super important in this scenario. And you want to position yourself where you see the fish before they see you. So to do that, what I like to do is I don't like the sun directly behind me. A lot of guides and influencers promote that. I've been doing this for over 30 years. If the sun is directly behind you, it's going to cast a dark shadow. So it doesn't matter how hard you try to blend in, you're not going to blend in. They are going to see you. So it's nice to have the sun off to one side or the other, either just even with your shoulder or barely behind it, and try to focus on zones ahead of you that have fewer clouds, which create the glare on the surface. That's going to help give you light penetration, and you'll be able to see shapes, subtle movements, things like that. Because I can tell you right now, if those fish see you before you can make a presentation, they see the movement or whatever, you're never going to have a chance. Mistake number three, feeling as if you need to be close enough to see the entire fish. That's not the reality. It is in a few venues, but most of the time, it's not about that at all. It's actually seeing the flashes or the belly roll that redfish happen to make. It's seeing pushes that you see from a snook, or that subtle push and glide that you'll see from bigger speckled trout. It's about seeing the tails above the water if you're targeting redfish or black drum. You don't always see the entire fish. So train your eyes to look for nervous water, to look for pushes, subtle movement. The best sight fishermen aren't seeing more fish. They're just seeing more obvious, subtle movements that put them in the zone. Number 4, bad casting angles. Here's what I mean. You're casting too close to the fish. You're throwing right at the fish. You can't do that. The fish have to be led. And I've got a rule for that. I'll actually even put a graphic up about it, but we're going to talk about that. And then the wrong presentation angle. Now, most of the time, depends on the venue, whether you live in Texas, whether you live in, I'm going to say the upper Gulf Coast, especially I'm talking about Mississippi, Biloxi Marsh, and Louisiana Delta, or if you're in some of the clear waters of Florida, or maybe, like I just left South Carolina fishing tailors in the grass. How close you can cast to them varies from venue to venue and from day to day based off pressure. That could be, barometric pressure, weather influences, or it could be angler pressure. For me, I'm going to tell you a rule I almost always use. I like to throw 2 to 3 feet beyond the fish and then 4 feet ahead of the fish most of the time. That's where I start. That way the lure has an opportunity, or fly has an opportunity to get out in front of the fish beyond them, and that way I can pull it in front of the path of the fish. Think not attack, think interception when you're making a casting angle. What's the toughest shot? You can imagine it would be the head-on shot. The head-on shot makes you throw either very I'm going to say conservatively out in front of it and wait for the fish to come upon it so you can drag it away from them. Or if you're fly fishing, you might be able to make the cast a little bit behind them and then slide the fly out in front of him, and maybe he doesn't feel that like he would feel a lure. But most of the time, and I'm going to say this is like 80% of the time, I'm just going to be patient and hope that that fish makes a right or a left turn. And if he does, then I'll have that cross attack path angle that I need to throw it out and intercept the path, that 2 to 3 feet beyond them and 4 feet out in front of them, and let them crash into my lure. That's my rule. It works for me. I think it'll work for you too. Let's move on. Number 5 is the wrong lure entry. What do I mean by that? Most of us, we place the lure into the water a little too aggressively. We're trying to cast too far to reach that fish, and it just goes splat. That splat, splash, whatever, when it hits the water, it blows the fish out. And lots of times we're like, oh, well, they just weren't eating today. They didn't like, they were spooky. Maybe they've been pressured too much because there was a tournament in town, or maybe the barometer was too high. The skies were too blue. There wasn't enough wind. And all of that could be true. But 9 out of 10 times it's because you landed the lure too close and too aggressively near the fish. You're splashing the lure down. You've got to learn to lower your trajectory and feather the cast. That's why I've been preaching for years, for decades, that casting distance only matters a small percentage of the time. It's accuracy and touch that are going to catch you some fish. I'm telling you that. I've been telling everyone that for a long time. It works. I'm telling you, it works. So practice feathering line, lower trajectory, and think that the entry is the first impression you're making on that fish. And it will get rejected very fast if you do it wrong. Mistake number 6. Overworking the lure after the cast. I mean, I watch this from the polling platform every day. You're trying to appeal to the fish's curiosity, its instinct. So you're trying to give it a little bit of something, whether it's a shake or a pull or a pop. And that's generally a mistake in sight fishing. Sight fishing, it's that first impression, like I said, safely away, pull it into the intercept path and let it settle. Too much movement after the cast usually blows them out. The fish were already interested. If you pulled it in front of its path and it comes up and then it starts to do this tipping motion, don't move it at all. Let him make the decision. I prove this all the time to clients and students. When I'm fishing with them, I show them how to cast. We put it right there. We kill it. Elastec has a tendency of coming up, or even the bug's jig, and it just subtly moves there without you giving it any motion at all, because they feel that vibration in the braid and in that fluorocarbon when you pop it. Even if you're popping it that much, it'll spook them in clear, shallow water. If you're using a paddle tail, which I don't like to sight fish with that much unless I'm targeting trout, sometimes snook, but if it's redfish or black drum or anything like that, I like to let the lure sit, soak, if you will. Just put it right there in their path and let it rest. Be patient. The fish will tell you what they want, I promise you. Now, the number 7 mistake is not as obvious to most, but it can be the biggest difference maker, I promise you. Because good sight fishermen start as good stalkers first, casters second. Many of us make these mistakes. Let's cover them first, and I'll tell you the solution. If your boat position is poor, you're coming down on the fish too quickly, you're going to be forced to rush a cast. And what was I guess it was maybe the number 1 or number 2 mistake, moving too fast. That's what's happening. A lot of times when you have the wind behind you, or the current behind you, you're moving too quickly. Things are happening very fast, and you have to make these quick shots. And nothing good comes from a rushed cast. 2, the angle is poor. If you're coming with the current down, guess where the fish are? Most of the time, trout and snook in particular, but reds as well, their heads are aimed in the current. If you're coming down to them, now you've got head-on shots. Head-on shots are tough. We just talked about that. Now you're hoping you'll have one way off to the side where you can make a cast and have a cross path angle. Hope, that's not a good plan. Hope is not a good plan. 2, noise. Now, for those that are in FlatsClass University, they've learned this. When you're upwind or you're up current, the sounds of your boat travel further through the water. They can hear them better. But if you come from down current, downwind, yes, I know it's a little tougher, and you're going to have to try to move slower so that your boat doesn't make any noise. But if you can come from that position, you're bringing the lure in a fashion that they're anticipating it. Plus, they're not going to feel you, between, I'm going to say, 5 and 7 o'clock. 5, 6, 7 is usually a blind spot for most fish when you're casting around them and then bringing it down to them. It's going to work out better for you. You're going to be less noisy. You're going to be able to have a better angle. They're probably going to be willing to eat a bait at a closer shot. Always think about your boat position, your sun angle, then start thinking, this is how I'm going to cast to them, instead of the other way around. If you fix these 7 mistakes, you'll see more fish. You'll spook fewer fish. You'll get better shots at the fish you're targeting. And most importantly, you'll convert most of your opportunities into hookups. Sight fishing is a game of inches. Small mistakes cost big opportunities. I know, I've made those mistakes. If you take anything from this video, it should be slow down, control your position, and think before you cast. That's what separates good anglers from consistent ones. If you like what you learn here at FlatsClass YouTube, you would love what we teach you over there at FlatsClassUniversity.com. That is a big drill down into a lot of these subjects. We have mailers that go out where you're testing lures every month. We do lure challenges where you can win grand prizes. You're saving 15% off in reward points off all lures, all saltwater products at sodiumusa.com through their rewards program. It's just a fantastic way for me to coach you on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis and make you a better angler. So hopefully I'll see you over there soon. If not, I'll see you right back here at FlatsClass YouTube tomorrow.